So Dan, can you just go over who's on the call right now, please?
Yeah. July 31st, Water Commission meeting, meeting remotely. We have myself, Dan Pelletier, Water Superintendent, Gary Carrero, Judith Underwood, Alan Thompson. With us as well is Russ Kleekamp from GHD.
Thanks, Dan. I'm going to call the meeting to order. First business is the consent agenda for July 17th, 2020. Motion?
Make a motion to.
Yeah. I just want to say I haven't read any of this information. I don't see anything wrong with the minutes. Go ahead.
Okay. So Judith?
Yep.
Yeah,
You making a motion?
yes.
Yeah. Judith was going to make the motion.
I'll make the motion and yes.
All right, I'll second the motion.
All right.
I'll take a vote by roll call. Judith?
Yes.
Alan?
Aye.
It's an aye for myself. Thank you. We have no abatements this week. The old unfinished business. We have the superintendent's evaluation up next, and then after that is the Pleasant Lake tank upgrade project. We have Russ from GHD on with us about the tank, and I really don't want to take his time up going over Dan's evaluation. So I'm just going to switch that around, and let's do the Pleasant Lake tank first, so Russ can go on with his day without having to listen to us give Dan a hard time. So
if I can just introduce, again, Russ is we have two contracts regarding the P Lake tank on the agenda today. I think it's appropriate we take Russ first as he's present. Russ, do you want to go over the scope, or you want me to continue on?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Good afternoon to the Board of Water Commissioners. I know we haven't met, I believe we have met before. Gary wants out on site there, but I do appreciate you taking the time to have me come in and present here. So probably the best page to flip to for the scope of work is within your packet is the GHD agreement, which the front end, we have reviewed that with the town of Harwich legal staff, and we're doing a project on the sewer side of things too. So the front end has been reviewed by legal staff and approved. But if you scroll down, and I believe it's the very last page of your packet is a spreadsheet with the engineering items, the different task items that we're doing and the costs, and that's what comprises our fees. I can run down the scope of work that we're doing here. I think I might be able to share my screen here. I'll probably end up hanging up on myself if I try. Do you want me to try to share the screen, Dan, or should we just go with the hard copies?
I can share mine. It may be easier.
Yeah.
It's, give me 1 second. Multiple monitors here, so just make sure you're looking at the right one.
Perfect. So we've had a few meetings with myself and with Dan, and we've had a teleconference. There's a third consultant also. A fairly straightforward project, but it's a little unique where you're modifying the interior structural components of an elevated water storage tank. So there's two firms involved with this. It's ourselves, GHD, or two firms that have been approached, GHD, and then also, I believe it's Consultant Industries, PCI. They specialize in water tank work, so they're going to be working on the design for all the upgrades that have to happen inside the water tank. There's a lot of fine details as far as removing the existing fill pipe, upgrading the size. When you cut holes in a water tank, or you're dealing with welding or surface preparation, things like that, you want someone very qualified and experienced internally with the water tanks, and Consultant Industries is just that. So it increased the pipe size, and then once we come outside of the tank, GHD would take the design where you run the new water main, the larger water main from the outside of the tank, and reconnect it to the existing water distribution system, which is a few hundred feet away. So the scope of work that we're proposing is basically we have to develop an existing conditions plan, and we do have a record drawing from the town And if you look at our scope items, it's labeled 1 through 12, and then on the far right is the total task. These are the hours that we are projecting for each of the tasks. So we start with an existing conditions plan. We develop that in AutoCAD. That's the software used to develop the plans, and we're going to what we call the 90% design. It's a fairly straightforward design outside of the tank. So depending on the complexities of a design, you may have 10 review meetings, you may have 1 review meeting. This is fairly straightforward. So in efforts to keep the engineering fees as low as possible, we feel that one interaction will be adequate to get the feedback from the water department. So along with the plans, we do a bound specification and also the cost estimate. This is a little unique where there's 2 firms working on design. So we will work with TCI. They'll produce a set of plans that showcases the interior work. We'll take their plans and combine them with our plans to make one plan set when it goes out to bid. That minimizes any confusion amongst contractors, and it's just a more streamlined approach for the project. So we'll get the plans from TCI, incorporate them into our plans, address the comments based on the 90% plans, and then we go into the 100% plan specifications and cost estimate. I try to put several, I break out all the engineering items rather than saying, oh, it's going to cost you $40,000. And the first question is, well, what are we getting for all that? By showing these different items, you can see each one of the steps that our firm has to take in order to complete this project. So tasks 1 through 9 comprise the design elements of the project. It's roughly $20,000. It's about half and half. Then once we move into task 10, that's where we provide bidding assistance for the water department. We'll advertise it on the central register. We'll review the bids, make a recommendation of contractors, and the other items that are described in the scope of work. And then it moves into the construction phase services. So once we have a qualified contractor secured, we provide the construction administration, which is reviewing of shop drawings, requests for information, change orders, payment requests, schedules, final and substantial completion inspections. There's a number of items that have to be dealt with during construction. And then also, we use the term resident project representative, but that could, clerk of the works, on-site engineer, they're all kind of the same. It's the engineer that's on-site, making sure what's designed is going in the ground or going on the tank. Generally, just looking at big picture numbers, when you have a construction project, it's usually in the ballpark of 10% of what the construction costs are, what the engineering fees are for the design, then another 10% for the construction administration. With TCI fees, TCI's costs were somewhere around that $60,000 range. So that falls right in line with the percentages of what typical engineering and construction fees are. We did make an effort to keep these numbers as low as possible. We did not put a lot of fluff into this agreement. There are certain items in our agreement. We try to be very clear with what we are and what we are not providing. So there is a section that deals with the out-of-scope work and also items that we require the owner to provide, or for the Harwich Water Department to provide. And I've gone through those in detail with Dan. I think we're both comfortable with what they are. So I'll leave it at that. I will gladly try to answer any questions you may have.
Thanks, Russ, for going over that. I'll start with the commissioners first, seeing I already had a chance to meet and talk with you. Judith, do you have any questions or comments?
No questions, just a comment. It's great to see it laid out like this. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mr. Thompson.
No, I'm fine. I got a lot of history with the tank, and no, I'm fine. And GHD is a good outfit to do business with. So I'm good.
All right, thank you. All right, Russ, thank you. Thanks for the information. I mean, at this point, I don't have any other comments or questions either. I got my questions answered when we met. Dan, is there anything else you wanted to go over while we still have Russ?
No, I'm sure Russ is sick of talking to me today, so.
I either get to talk to you or I have to talk to my boss, Dan, so I'll take you anytime.
All right.
And then what's the next step is to get some numbers from TCI?
Yeah, so I can touch on that. We have the contract from, it's actually TIC, Tank Industry Consultants.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I've been working with them over the past week, going back and forth, with the town's agreement and their agreements. At this point, our legal counsel is comfortable with the agreement as negotiated so far. The one last hurdle that we're waiting on, Tank Industry Consultants is out of, I think it's Indiana, and the office that we're dealing with is in California. And what they need to do in order for us to enter into contract with them is register or re-register as a either foreign business or a Massachusetts registered business. So they're working on that right now. Should be getting something to me within the next week, so we could have that contract on for the next meeting on the 12th.
Perfect.
So I mean, with regard to GHD, the next step for us is to, enter in this agreement so that they can get started. I know they've already done, some work prior to contract, so I'd like to see the board move forward with that so we can start paying them for the work that they're doing.
All right. But what number are they giving for an estimate for the pipe inside the tank?
Tank Industries is, bear with me one moment. It is, so the total scope for the interior of the tank is $18,625.
Okay.
There can be a potential reduction there as well. So one of the items in Tank Industries scope is to evaluate the capacity of the overflow pipe in the vent for the tank.
Okay.
So determine that no upgrades needed to the vent or the overflow pipe, there'd be a reduction in scope of about $1,350.
Okay.
They won't be able to get into that until they actually start running some calculations. But
did they give you any opinions as far as interior pipe with all the valves?
Yes, they were of the same opinion, and we had a kickoff meeting with TIC and Russ and GHD the other day. One of their comments that was relative to the hydraulics of the system and where the overflow elevations for the Route 39 tank and the Oak Street tank are both at the same overflow, that using the same fill pipe there, we shouldn't need to do the valve assembly in the base, but until, again, we get a little bit further into that.
Okay.
So will the Pleasant Lake tank be the primary tank after you've changed it?
We will likely run it as the primary lead tank upon completion of the project. Right now, we unfortunately don't have that option. So depending on once the upgrade's done, and we'll be able to use either one, which right now we can't.
All right. So Pleasant Lake is the largest of the three, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
It's 1.5 million gallons, and right now we're using probably a million gallons of storage. That's all we can get in there. Yep.
All right. All right. So once the work is done, then we'll have a better handle on everything.
Yes. And another benefit to doing this right now, as I mentioned, the 39 tank is what controls the water system. That tells our pumps when to kick on and kick off. If we ever had something occur at the 39 tank that required us to take that offline, we would be in, troubled waters. We would make it work, but it certainly isn't as smooth of an operation using the P-Lake tank as 39 at this point. So this will really give us more redundancy in the system.
It sounds like the right direction.
All right, any other questions or comments before Russ can start enjoying his weekend? All right, again, unless you have something you want to add, Russ, thank you for taking the time. We do appreciate your input.
You're welcome very much. It was my pleasure, and everybody have a great weekend. I look forward to again. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks.
And just for the Water Commission, in your packet is a signed agreement from GHD. So the only remaining signatures would be the board necessary to execute this.
On the signature page,
What was that, Alan?
on the signature page,
Yes.
I'm listed as the vice chairman, so you could put me under the clerk.
Oh yeah, that's the that's the first contract for Tank Industries. The second one, somehow the 3 signature lines got left out. So I was going to add those in for signature.
So Dan, what do you need? Do you need us all to come in to sign?
No, I mean, one signature would be fine. It would just be a motion and vote of the board to enter into the contract, and then authorize the chair to sign would be sufficient.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, I'll move that the chair sign for the commissioners.
Is there a second?
No. Second.
I'll take a vote by roll call. Judith?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye?
And it's an aye for myself. Motion passes. Dan, is Monday, where I come in, good time?
Yeah, I think unless I missed part of Alan's motion, I just heard authorize the chair to sign. Is that just for the minutes and for people who may be watching, is that an authorization to execute the contract?
Well, what do you think? I don't know. Sometimes the contracts are different. If there's a problem, we can always change. Let Gary sign it. And
I just think we need a clarification, Alan, that your motion was giving me authorization to sign the contract to go into the agreement.
well, that's what my motion was for you
Okay.
to.
All right. Very good. Are we all set on that?
Yeah, and I, as I mentioned briefly, we've worked through the contract and the agreement with Tank Industries as
Everyone have, I know, Alan, you just got yours. But if you want to take a second to look through it, Sandy took an average of the 3 evaluations that we all did. And finding all 3 of the evaluations, it comes up with a overall rating for a letter rating of an EE, which is exceptional. The total points is a 75.5%. With the total average of the 3, Dan's came out to an 88.8%. He has 2 letters of commendation in here. For the extra credit, he was able to utilize the department staff to resolve the $30,000 for the
potential change order.
Proposed
change order, PCO.
Thank you. Sorry. And the turn back for, what was this, Dan? The 300, the actual revenue for the indirects.
Actual revenue minus expenses, so that's what was turned back and not expended.
That was, I'm sorry, if you want to touch on that, go ahead.
Yeah, no, that was for fiscal year 20. That was what we were able to turn back, which will ultimately be retained earnings when it's certified.
Again, just to kind of touch on that a little bit, that comes a lot from the whole issue with the COVID-19, right, Dan? About we reduced pretty much eliminated our spending, and took all those funds and we were able to turn it back for projects that we didn't work on this year.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the total evaluation as presented.
And is there a
I'll
second?
second that.
Okay, the only discussion I have is just to go over that. Dan will be going from the current step 7 to step level 8.
It deserves it.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I do agree with him. All right, so I'll take a vote to approve by a roll call. Judith?
Wait a
Aye.
minute. Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I think all the commissioners should go in and sign this form too,
That's fine. Okay.
right?
That's
And an aye for me.
And it's an aye for myself. So the motion carries. And just really, Dan, I just want to thank you on behalf of the commissioners for the time and effort you put into it. I know you do take the department personally, and we in the town are very lucky to have you on board. So thank you for all your hard work.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Another busy year, I'm sure.
Let's hope 2021 is going to be a little bit less exciting.
Yeah, right.
All right, for new business, we have the Water Commissioners Authority over department staff. This is something that's come up. I've thought about several times in the past, and I'm just not sure why the town administrator oversees the water department staff and is involved with the contract negotiations for the water department employees when it affects our budget and we don't even have a say or a seat at the table in the discussion. So, Alan, obviously you've been here the longest. Do you have any input as to the pros or cons of the water commissioners not having any authority over the employees?
Well, I can't tell you when it changed, but it all had to do with the union negotiations. Is when the board no longer negotiated contracts and what have you. And I don't have a lot of history on it. When I came on the board, Chris Clark was here, and I think all we had to say about it was okay and appropriate the money. Other than that, it's all about the unions. I'm sure there's a history there somewhere, but it's something I never delved into.
So I guess my next question would be, what's your opinion as far as trying to take steps to taking the authority over the employees back, or what would be your thought on pursuing this or leaving it the way it is?
Well, as far as I know, I don't have a problem with it being the way it is as far as negotiations and all that. I mean, that's an area that's goes deep at times, just dealing with past history on this stuff. But what I'd like to see and make sure is that we still control, as far as employees for the water, that they don't get switched off and shipped to sewer and let the water department pay for it. That is one of my real pains that we definitely need to look at. I don't want to sit back and let the selectmen have the final say on thing that's happening. But the thing of it is, for some reason, the union negotiations changed, and I'm not sure why or exactly when. So maybe we could do some research and before we do anything and come up with a next.
Okay. Judith?
I just wonder, when the enterprise was set up as an enterprise, was there any verbiage, any language in that? Isn't an agreement, just the structure of the water department as a quasi-separate entity, if that included staff, because clearly the budget's separate.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think looking into the history would be a good thing. Yeah.
While we're looking, we'll go back and look at it. We should go back and look at that because that is a key point right about then. Yeah.
And also to compare, because they set one up for the wastewater, correct?
Yeah.
And to put those two documents side by side, because is it going to be one department or two departments that Dan's going to be intending over?
No, it'll be the funding that's funds for water, enterprise, sewer. That's how it's set up.
Can you say that one more time? You just were breaking up there.
It's the funding, enterprise funding for the water and enterprise funding for the sewer. So sewer revenue,
those two are
sewer accounts and water revenue to water account. But I also want to see to it that the staff, all the staff we have now stay totally busy day in and day out for water. So I don't want to see those guys being pulled off to send to sewer calls or any other that stuff. So at some point, so we definitely before we meet again, to get all the information laid out and shared with you guys, and we can deal with it.
Yeah, just to be clear again, it'll be two budgets, one for water, one for wastewater.
Yeah.
And separate employees. Our water department employees are not going to be going over and doing wastewater work. That's something that we've said from day one. But Dan will oversee the assistant superintendent for water and the assistant superintendent or whatever it may be until we get to that point for wastewater. And then obviously we'd be the water, wastewater commissioners. So.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah. So from the sounds of it, there is interest into looking into when the change happened, why the change happened, and what the pros and cons would be to to try and oversee the employees. Is that fair to say? Reasonable?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Okay. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
And just so I have, just for my own clarification, if I may, the history we're looking into is when the contract negotiation, when that change took place, but also you were inquiring about the enterprise fund.
Yeah.
When that, what prompted
the
that?
structure. Yeah.
And prior to that, all the union employees were handled through town hall.
And then when they set up the enterprise, did the town employees get taken care of underneath the water department, and then at some point when the new administration came in, it shifted back?
Well, no.
Or you don't know? There's some research, yeah.
When the enterprise fund happened, I don't think there's any change as to union negotiations. One is back then, sure, they had the final say, but a lot of it was to keep things on an even keel town-wide.
All right, yeah, well, you know what, we will dive into this more, because I don't understand why, I don't see why the union negotiations would have any say as to how we, work with the town employees. So we'll look more into this, and that's something I'll be happy to look into, because it was something I thought of and I brought up. So I'll work with Dan and look more into that and see where it all stems from again, and what the benefit is or may not be to work with the employees in the water department specifically. So we'll look into that more.
I think it actually came when Craig came on.
Okay, that explains a lot. All right. Dan, do you want to go over the capital plan for the grant funds?
Yeah, and this is I watched the Finance Committee meeting from last night, and I believe that there's still discussions taking place amongst the Board of Selectmen and Finance Committee regarding the capital plan and how we're going to approach it in September for town meeting. So this will likely be an evolving discussion. However, I just wanted to note, in the evaluation, we talked about the drinking water supply protection grant. One of the things that goes along with that is that it's a matching funds grant. And in order to submit the application, the department has to have proof of authorization to spend the money. And in order to do that, we have to get a vote at town meeting to allowing us to spend money to participate in the grant. So the recent article that passed at the ballot regarding the capital plan and the 2/3 majority to amend the capital plan, we would have to pursue that and seek a 2/3 majority on the floor. Again, I don't think it would be a controversial topic. We're requesting money for a grant, but that would be one thing that does need to get added to our capital plan. So I just wanted to address that, bring it up to the board, knowing that we're going to have to at some point in the near future make some determinations about what we intend on requesting for town meeting in September and where we want to place things after that. Again, they're still engaged in active discussions around the topic. I don't know how much action there is to do at this point for the Water Commission. I think it'd be probably if we waited until they had clear direction on how we were handling capital items and the impacts of COVID, delaying town meeting, and all those things that we're all struggling with. So.
You can see my lips moving, but nothing coming out.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll wait to see where the capital plan comes out.
Yeah, and I'll obviously be paying attention. We're kicking the department head meeting to once a week now in advance of town meeting. So there's going to be a lot of information coming out relative to budgets and capital, and we're kind of restarting where we were over the winter. So.
Okay.
Dan, just leave it with you that when you see the direction, let's be prepared to move. I don't mind getting a little grant money. You see it flying around, So, yeah, why don't we just plan on being ready to go? Yeah,
Good.
Gary? Yeah?
I agree.
And it may be that if for some reason we can't hold town meeting because of COVID, they may make some exception to the grant applications, I'm guessing, because it's a state grant, right?
Yeah, and you know, the advertisement hasn't been released yet. The last one was advertised in, I believe it was November. So this, I would expect we would get it. No, you know, it won't be advertised until at least November. So I think we're safe.
Okay.
For this, you know, for this town meeting, because it's typically open. I think it was open for at least a year or greater.
Okay. I was thinking there was a deadline in September. Okay.
All right, also with that, Dan?
Yeah.
All right. Superintendent's report. Department fleet.
Yeah, if I can share my screen here. Share. Did that, can everyone see it?
Kind of. I'm working off my phone. So
All right, I can narrate as well as we go.
okay.
Can you enlarge it a little bit?
Yes.
And buck it up?
If you touch the phone screen, you can zoom in on it.
Yep, I'm zooming.
Is that any better?
Yep.
So I asked for this to be put on. We have, this is typically the time of year where all of our vehicles are inspected. They get brought up to the DPW. So there were a couple of things that were brought to our attention. We have 2 trailers that are compromised. We have the 1997 Dove construction trailer, which is what we use to tow the John Deere 75, the larger excavator we have. We purchased that used in 2007 for $3,500. The DPW put together an estimate to repair it. The total estimated repair costs are between $10,260 and $11,260. And that is to rewire, replace the rotted deck, blast and paint it. The big one, and really the major concern with the trailer is that 6 out of the 8 brakes are not working. So it can be pretty difficult to stop that trailer and excavator and truck with the trailer brakes not working. So that's, we're currently borrowing a trailer from DPW to tow our equipment right now. So that's trailer 1. Trailer 2 was the 1998 Parker utility trailer. This trailer is what we have all of our hydraulic vacuum, hydraulic pump, and we take that out with us typically to leaks and main breaks and things of that nature. The trailer was purchased in 2006 for $1,650. And during some recent repairs, DPW noticed it's significantly rotted. The structure of the trailer is compromised due to rust, perforation, and not sufficient to carry the weight of the equipment that's on the trailer. That trailer, 22 years old, and they recommended replacement. I'm going to scroll down here. I do have some pictures right here of the hydraulic trailer. This is the Parker. So you can see, I mean, it's pretty rotted and seen better days. They also provided replacement quotes. They're proposing a 7x14 trailer to replace the hydraulic one that you were just looking at photos of. The replacement cost for that is about $3,659. And the replacement quote $138. So those are the two trailers we're experiencing issues with. There may be some options on the used market for the larger trailer.
Dan, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can you just go back to the pictures? I didn't get to see the pictures.
Yeah. And I can
Thank you.
circulate these in email as well.
All right.
Mr. Chairman, I move we replace both trailers.
We'll second that.
Okay, so we have a motion to replace both trailers. We have a second. I guess my only comment is, or my concern is, I keep missing the pictures. Oh, there we go. Dan, these trailers that we're going to replace with these new trailers, these are adequate to handle the equipment we're going to be putting on them, right?
That was what I've been advised. I will confirm and reconfirm.
And are these trailers, are these air brakes? Are they electric brakes?
Yes, the trailer, the larger trailer for the big machine is air brake, and it also has the air ramps for the back. So, you know, to lower those down to get off the machine, to get the machine off.
Yeah.
So that's air brake, air suspension, I believe, as well.
Okay.
And then the other trailer is a smaller trailer. It's 7x14. It would just be your typical, you know, cam trailer you see, similar to a landscape trailer.
Yep.
I've got a kinds of question.
Shoot.
Oh,
Okay. Are we
so
going to be able
just
to
look.
get any trade, any money? I'm sorry. Yep. Go ahead, Judith.
No, I was gonna ask you,
Go ahead, Judith.
looking forward, if equipment like this, something that's gonna be dual use for the water department and the wastewater department? Is it something that we could envision sharing, or would?
So if I'm not mistaken, the language within the charter change that amended the water commission to a water wastewater commission also included, I believe it was assets of the water commission become that of the water wastewater commission.
Okay.
However, using retained earnings, you know, if it was intended to be shared between the two departments, the cost for purchasing it should be split between the two departments in whatever proportion.
That's what I was getting at, yeah.
Yeah, judging by the conversation at last night's finance committee meeting surrounding the wastewater budget and the budgetary, you know, hurdles we're up against due to COVID and for FY21, I couldn't see them being willing to split it, but it's not my call.
As far as sharing equipment between the two departments, granted, there are some items that I wouldn't mind being shared, but at the same time, there are some pieces of equipment that should not be shared for water and wastewater. And obviously, Dan has a better grasp on that than I do, but I can't imagine that we'd want to be sharing certain tools or items in the wastewater department and then bring that contaminated item to the water department and use it over here. So that's something that we definitely need to keep an eye on and make sure that stays separate. But as far as the trailer, I mean, again, depending on what needs to be done. But so we have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any further discussion on the trailers, Judith?
No, just if he was to execute on this, are we good to go? I mean,
Due to the cost, I mean, for the smaller trailer, given the price, you know, that falls into the best practices category. For the larger trailer, we will have to do a procurement of sorts. There may be a state contract we can purchase off of.
okay.
motion passes, I'll be going through that exercise.
Okay.
Okay, Alan, any other questions about the trailers?
No, I got enough years. I've seen junk patched up and it doesn't work.
A motion to approve by Alan, with a second by Judith. I'll take a vote by roll call. Judith?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
And I for myself. The motion carries.
So the next fleet item I wanted to and bounce off the board is relative to a roller. So as you're all well aware, we go out almost on a daily basis from spring until fall to install water services, water mains, all those sorts of repairs. Part of that is repairing the road. So what we generally have been doing, or historically been doing, is renting a roller when we on days that we pave. The roller costs are about $220 a day. Included is, if you can see on my screen, I've included the prior year's invoices from fiscal years 18, 19, and 20. So over the past 3 fiscal years, we have spent approximately $6,315 renting rollers. Speaking with Steve this morning, he anticipates needing to rent rollers for an additional 13 weeks to get through the rest of this digging season, which is another $2,800. We were able to get an estimate for from Childs. A used 2018 roller with 200 hours on it is $9,044. So I wanted to bring this and present it to the board. If we're, in my personal life, if I have to borrow something twice, you typically need to buy it. I didn't see it as being efficient to continue renting a roller in perpetuity. If it's something that we need and we need to continue to use, I wanted to make sure that the board had the opportunity to be aware of what was happening and either weigh in support of moving forward purchasing one or continue renting one.
I'll make a motion to purchase. Are they giving a credit, huh? Am I reading that right?
Yeah, because we rent so many of them so frequently. The new one's $19,000, which for 200 hours, I couldn't justify spending an extra $10,000.
Yeah. I'll make a motion to approve the secondhand purchase.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second it.
Was that a second, Alan?
Yes. Oh, you didn't.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, so we have a motion to approve. We have a second by Alan. Any further discussion? Alan?
Aye.
I'm sorry, I'm just asking for any further discussion. Anything else you want to? Okay,
No,
Judith?
No, I'm good.
Okay, I'll take a motion, a vote to approve. Judith?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
It's an aye for myself, so the motion carries. So Dan, just
and these will come back before you. Obviously we have to follow whatever applicable procurement regulations are in place. With your approval now, I'll be working to put together all that information and get it back in front of you guys for signature. Okay,
just to touch base one more time about the trailers and the roller. The trailer size with the air brakes isn't too large for the dump truck it's going to be going on.
Let me just get my pen.
No.
I want to hear Dan say it, Alan.
Oh.
Want to hear me say what? Is it too large? No,
Yes.
It's not too large. But I am not a truck expert and I am not a trailer expert. So at risk of not giving you misinformation, I would prefer to seek answers from.
Seems to be falling apart. So, and I don't need a safety issue on the road to hurt someone in our department or the public. So I'm on board with that. What I don't want to happen is we purchase this trailer and then when we get the trailer, we're told that, well, the truck we were going to put it on can't handle the weight of the trailer plus the equipment. That's my number one concern. And then my thought is the roller that we're going to purchase, is it going to be too heavy or too big to be put on that smaller trailer? Or I guess my question is, we have a trailer for that roller
Right
to go
now,
on.
yes. Right now, we utilize our own trailer when we rent the machine. We go up, rent it, pick it up, and drop it off.
Okay. All right.
So I will follow up on your other question and yeah.
That's all I have. Anything else, Dan, for the superintendent's report?
No, that's it for me.
Okay, commissioner's report. Judith.
Just that I saw recently, and I'm gonna get a link and send it to you all. I recently saw a film about water reuse around the world. It was a documentary, and they were looking at some very interesting modern sewer systems that incorporate a lot of water reuse. I just thought it'd be interesting for us to all view it at some point and maybe have a discussion. And not just, sorry, it was an algae system actually. And we made energy from it as well.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Alan, anything?
No, I'm good, thanks.
All right. I don't have anything to add as well. The is scheduled for August 12th. Does that still work for everybody?
Yeah. Is that let me just look at my calendar.
I have August 12th at 1 o'clock.
No. Yep, that'll work.
Is that good with you, Alan?
Yeah, it's good with me.
All right.
That's a Wednesday, right? Yeah.
It is.
1 p.m.
Yeah. All right. So then I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
I will happily second that.
All right. I'll take a vote by roll call. Judith?
Aye.
Alan?
Aye.
And it's not for myself. So thank you all for your time, and we'll see you on the 12th.
All right, everybody stay
weekend.
safe out there.
All right. You